Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Loyal Sons podcast. We are coming back at you live for episode 9. 9 weeks straight. We've been keeping this thing rolling. It's going pretty good. I got my boys, Iron Duncan, Stephen Frederick,
Yo,
and
yo.
everybody knows, last but not least, Denzel Johnson. How everybody holding up, man? How everybody doing?
I'm good, man.
Good, man.
Everybody doing good. Feeling extra New York after yesterday's Instagram battle. You feel me? Jada Kiss and Fab all day. You know what I mean?
I actually missed the battle. I think because they put it on Apple TV, so mine wasn't working right, man. I missed it, but I was rooting for Fab. I was low key rooting for Fab.
You know what? Like y'all know me forever. You know, Fab is my favorite artist, but like when it all comes down to it, Kiss been with Bad Boy, Kiss been with Rough Riders, Kiss been with Rockefeller. Like his category is, untouchable, and bar for bar, line for line, he kind of demolished Fab, and I kind of felt a little bad for Fab. You know what I mean? Now they got the Jordan memes with Fab in the corner with the Jordan crying face and all. You know what I mean?
But I heard Fab left a lot of songs on the table.
He definitely did. Like he didn't try to match like Kiss the whole time. Kiss was saying, "Yo, we're not switching it up. We're staying with the heat," and he did that. Like, and you heard some songs that you probably haven't heard in a long time. Like, wow, like it just took the nostalgia.
Did Fab go into his love song bag though?
He did. In the second 10 songs or whatever. He definitely did that, and that's when he started getting back into it. But the first 10, they were doing verse for verse. So it wasn't even like their songs. It was like songs that they were featured on.
I mean, Fab got bars, but you in a battle. Go with your hits.
And I told you that too. Like Fab, like when you hear it, it's like, oh, that's fire. But then you hear Kiss and you're like, like it was unfair,
Because if you talk about the hits, I think Fab would win out.
Yeah, Fab definitely.
You only going for hits, but if you go bar for bar, then Jada Kiss obviously he won. So.
And then Kiss didn't even play. He didn't even play Why. He didn't even play Put Your Hands Up. Like he didn't put a lot of his shit that was commercial. He didn't even play it. He just played a lot of underground stuff or a lot of stuff from the Locks. And, you know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of stuff that he actually was featured on.
I really wish Tip would battle that lame man Gucci and just end it in a verse. Just end it.
End it in what?
End what?
End it in the verses.
In his career? You know I mean? In his career? You talking about going against Gucci. Gucci got hits, hood classics.
I'm happy you brought that up. I'm happy you brought that up, Iron. I would love to see that one.
Hood classics.
I would love to see it too, but it's not gonna happen because Gucci is not gonna do it.
Gucci don't need to do it.
The first time T.I. plays, you can have whatever you like, and then Gucci.
That's probably not even gonna make it though. That wouldn't even make it.
That's gonna make it. That's gonna make it. That's what it is. That's what it is.
But before we get on our regularly scheduled topics, how many classic albums does Gucci have?
Does he have any?
It doesn't matter. He got plenty of classic. Plenty. He got at least 3 or 4 classics.
3 or 4 classic what? Song?
Mixtapes.
Oh, we talking about mixtapes now?
Those mixtapes are comparable to albums. Comparable to T.I. albums. Yes.
Nope.
Those mixtapes are better than T.I. albums.
Nope.
Easily. And I want you.
Gucci's mixtapes are legendary, bro.
Legendary.
The only person who answered my question was Denzel. I said, how many classic albums does Gucci have? Denzel, what was your response?
Did you even have one? Did you have
it? Yeah, I ain't gonna discredit Gucci like that. He might not be commercially successful, but
I won't discredit him. He does have hood hits. But my question was only pertaining to classic albums.
But you know what, Steve? That's why that would be a dope battle, because that's kind of what Fab and Kiss was on. Because definitely Fab had the commercial success in the early his career. Kiss really never had the commercial success, and he's the underground dude, and he demolished Fab. So I would love to see that.
And the people gonna roll with Gucci.
Fab and Jada Kiss are like even. Gucci would have to battle like Young
don't even start
he gotta go. He gotta battle Young LA or something.
Young LA, bro.
Gucci is a boss, man. What you talking about?
Gucci and Dro set that up, and then the winner, Mike can go somewhere else.
Yeah, you know what?
Man, cut that out, man. You being disrespectful, man.
The better debate should be T.I. and Jeezy.
For introducing us to Dro.
T.I. and Jeezy?
T.I. and Jeezy would be the better debate.
Man.
That is a better debate. That actually is a better debate because Jeezy does have classic albums too.
Nobody even looking for T.I. or Jeezy anything right now. Gucci can still drop something and garner more attention than both of them put together.
Yeah, if he got a feature on it, he can't do it by himself.
Feature. He can drop a verse, a mixtape right now. If T.I. drop a verse, nobody would not care about that. I guarantee it.
I would.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. The only person.
That's it.
That's the only person.
Hey man, before we stray out too far, let's go ahead and get it kicked off, man.
Definitely, this was entertaining.
Today, man, we want to start it off by listing our top 5 NBA dynasties of all time. So, who wants to go ahead and get it kicked off?
George, go ahead and kick it off, man. What's good?
You want me to kick it off?
Go ahead and start it off.
All right, I'm gonna kick it off, and then we talked about this a few episodes back. My controversial opinion, which I think will keep this topic very spicy.
Which I agree with, by the way.
To me, the only way you can be qualified as a dynasty is you have to, at some point during your reign, win at least 2 consecutive championships. You have to at least win a back-to-back.
I agree with that.
A back-to-back, to me, makes you a true dynasty. So, with that being said,
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
Before we dive in, I say you have to win at least 3 championships during that era.
At least 3 during the era?
During that era that you win, or that the team is together, you have to win at least 3 to be considered a dynasty. It don't have to be back to back, but you need 3 championships.
I disagree.
I disagree.
Can you at least agree that you have to go back to back? You just can't win and then disappear for 2 years.
Okay, I mean, I'll give you that. You have to go, at least back to back at some point. Yes, I will agree with that. But I don't say you have to win. My thing is you got to win 3 during that time to be considered a dynasty.
I definitely agree with that 3, but I don't agree that you have to go back to back because you just never know the different situations, different scenarios. But definitely teams that I feel, especially because one of my picks doesn't qualify for Georgia's standards. But we'll get into that when when it's my turn or whatever. So we could go ahead and kick that off.
I disagree with the 3, but I agree with the back-to-back. But George, go ahead and kick it off.
All right. So to kick mine off, I got, to me, the greatest dynasty ever, the Chicago Bulls, from 91 through 98. If Michael Jordan had not, decided to take a rest, you talking potentially 8 straight championships, but it was 6 when Mike was actually on the floor. Full season. He did come back in the other season in the year they lost to Orlando in the Eastern Conference, but he had just got back not that many games heading into the season. So, but yeah, greatest dynasty ever assembled. Never went to a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, and stopped a lot of people in that era from winning championships. You got to think about a lot of great players played during that era, and the only person to come out with championships was Hakeem Olajuwon, which, if you go back to our top players list, he made my list because he cracked through and he won some championships during that era. Granted, Michael wasn't playing. The next great era, in my opinion, number 2, the Lakers era from 2000 to 2004. Kobe Shaq era. To me, probably the most dominant era, ever. The Bulls is the best era, but we talking about dominance. You're talking about Shaq in his prime, hungry, an up-and-coming, young, hungry Kobe Bryant. Those two together were just unstoppable. It's kind of sad that they couldn't put their bullshit, their differences on the side. I think they could have won a lot more. I'm not one of the people to, I think Kobe said they would have won like 10 or some shit like that, but I really think if they had stuck together and worked through their issues, definitely would have rivaled the Bulls for like 6 or maybe like 7 championships if they could have pulled it out and worked together. The next dynasty, Showtime Lakers, baby. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, those guys. Showtime. It's the era that brought the NBA back to prominence. And it made the NBA, it was a stepping stool to what Michael Jordan preluded into, to what Shaq and Kobe did, to what LeBron James and these guys are doing right now. That was the start of it. Showtime Lakers coming in at number 3. Number 4, maybe over some time, I think, I'll appreciate it a lot more. But right now, number 4, the recent Golden State Warriors dynasty, the 3 championships they won, the first one that they won, the 73-game season, then the remarkable comeback by LeBron James and stopping them from, having that three-peat, but then the injuries last year, having the three-peat on a different scale with Kevin Durant going down. And then my 5th is the Boston Celtics during that Showtime era. I mean, Larry Bird, bad man. I mean, it was a great team assembled. I mean, pretty much during that 80s era, 80s to the 90s era, it was either the Lakers or the Celtics winning championships. The Bad Boy Pistons, they were an honorable mention on my list of somebody that could have cracked this list because they broke through and they won some championships, and they beat the Celtics as well as the Lakers to win their championships. So, hats off to those guys. So they're definitely in the top 10 as far as you're talking about dynasty. But every team on this list has at least won a back-to-back. Some of them have three-peated, but definitely at least a back. The top 2 three-peated, the Bulls three-peating twice, the Lakers three-peating, and Showtime Lakers back-to-back, and Golden State back-to-back, as well as the Boston Celtics winning a back-to-back as well. Like I said, that's my criteria for a dynasty, and now I'm going to kick it off to Denzel and let him, try to explain his list.
He said try to explain.
Well, everybody, that knows me, especially if we go back to the original of the top 10 players, I stay consistent with that, more or less teams that I've seen dominate in my lifetime. So I had to include the Showtime Lakers. I wasn't a part of that. Even Detroit, as much as my dad used to talk about Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Rodman, all the above, like I really didn't watch that. I think my first time I ever saw a championship finals game would have been probably one of the Bulls, either like 92 or 93. So with that being said, definitely number 1, the epitome of dynasty. It has to go to the Chicago Bulls, 6 for 6, and possibly would have been 8 for 8. But we're not going to touch that subject.
Can't do that. Can't do it. Can't do it.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. We get it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I'm just speaking, But they beat notable teams like the Lakers, the Trailblazers with Clyde Drexler, the Suns with the MVP Charles Barkley, the Sonics with
They beat notable teams.
Notable teams, yes,
those teams. Come on, man. You acting like those teams were straight up trash.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Okay. I'll let you finish. My bad.
Thank you. The Sonics, they had a real good team that year with Gary Payton and the dunking machine, Sean Kemp, whatever. And of course the Utah Jazz. That in their history.
Yeah.
Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Jeff Horner said it was tough. I agree.
Cut it out.
Went to the playoffs for 15 consecutive years.
Time out. I don't mean to cut you off, but I got to shut him up right quick. Let's not act like LeBron James didn't lose to Jason Kidd and Jason Terry.
We're not even talking about Go James. We're not even talking about Go James.
Headband Jason Terry and Dirk shooting off one leg.
Hey, Dirk, Sean Marion, Jason Terry, Jason Kidd. That team was all right.
Sean Marion.
That team would have beat the Jazz. That team would have beat the Jazz.
Sean Marion
that team would not have beat the Jazz.
We're not talking about a young Jason Kidd either. We're talking about at the end of his career Jason Kidd.
He was a knockdown shooter. He was a knockdown shooter.
Old Dirk.
Dirk been over his whole career. That don't matter.
Jason Terry. The man talking about the jet. That man was
that man is the MVP. You not disrespect the great Dirk Nowitzki like that.
That's what I said. Dirk been playing old his whole career.
That man was a hang glider. He was not no jet no more. He was a hang glider.
But I appreciate you stepping up, George. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I had to just let the people know because he over there talking about something. Oh my, like the teams were scrubs back then. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Any one of those teams.
Any one of those teams could have won a championship.
Besides Clyde Drexler, who else was on that Trailblazers team?
Terry Porter.
Who?
Terry Porter.
Terry Porter was a hell of a player in that time.
He was.
Who else?
I can't remember.
They had a big man. I can't remember.
Cliff Robinson. Who else?
Okay, I don't remember.
Cliff Robinson was a dog.
I really don't.
Okay, keep going.
Denzel, keep going with your list.
Keep going with your, because this man, he you know how he want to
do. Moving forward into the future, I'm gonna go number 2. The LA Lakers of the 2000-2004, of course, dominating. Shaquille O'Neal, 3-time Finals MVP, just throwing elbows in everybody's face, breaking jaws, and people losing teeth. You can't stop that. Dominating factor. Kobe Bryant, of course, at that point in his career was definitely starting to accelerate into that upper echelon to what he became. So most definitely loved it. My only cut for that is they beat my team in that time, the 76ers. Iverson just took the team, put them on the shoulders, and took them. Yes, they were my team in the time. Yes, Iverson was my favorite player, so don't do that. Number 3, the Golden State Warriors of the 2015 to 2019, of course. The 3 out of 5, defeating GOAT James 3 times. And, possibly would have had 4 against Toronto if the injuries didn't pile up. But, every dynasty must end at some point, and, they had a hell of a run. So, number 4, I couldn't leave them off. I'm sorry, I couldn't leave them off. So, of course, the Miami Heat, 2011, 2014. They won 2 out of 4, and they did win a back-to-back. So that does qualify for the criteria of winning back-to-back championships. So shout out to them. They accomplished something. They changed the NBA forever for what they did. They were the pioneer. Well, I'm not going to say they initially were the pioneers of creating a big 3 because Boston started it first, but they elevated it with LeBron James, D-Wade, Chris Bosh. That just was outlandish. Really should have won 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 championships, but it just didn't.
How can you give them credit and then throw a shot at the same time?
Exactly. You know we better than that. You know we better than that, good brother Iron.
Go ahead.
And number 5 on my list, once again, is kind of a shot to what the criteria was, but I cannot leave this team off. Like, what they accomplished in 15 years is just amazing. 5 championships in 15 years. But I'm talking about the 1999 through the 2007 San Antonio Spurs. That team accomplished major things and just playing basketball really fundamentally. Everybody held their weight. And again, especially coming out of the West, teams that they had to beat. They had to beat the Sacramento Kings. They had to beat the Portland Trailblazers. They had to beat the LA Lakers to get to where they got. You have to give them respect for that. And then the teams that they actually beat in the finals, outside of Cleveland, the one year where LeBron overachieved, they beat a pretty good Nets team, which was the best team in the East. I'm gonna say that.
Shout out to the kid.
They beat the Detroit Pistons, who was the best team in the NBA at that point. And again, like I said, they beat LeBron, but that was pretty much expected. But yeah, most definitely 4 championships in that 9-year period and 5 in 15 years. And if it wasn't for a Ray Allen once in a lifetime clutch shot, they would have 6 championships. So, the longevity, them starting from when Tim Duncan was maybe in his second year to 15 years out, that just shows.
Who did they beat that his second year when they won the championship? Who did they beat?
They beat okay, so they beat the Nets the first. No, they beat the Nets the second year. They beat the Nets. They beat the Nets.
Oh, my bad. I'm thinking about David Robinson's first one. Yeah. Who did David Robinson beat his first one?
They beat the Knicks, unfortunately. It's all good.
Here's my beef why I can't call him a dynasty.
Okay, I'm listening.
You won in '99, strike short in season, I might add, and then you beat an 8 seed New York Knicks team.
It's true.
Oh, that's this. If you're gonna say that, then you're gonna have to put an asterisk on whoever the championship. Whoever wins the championship this year.
Whoa,
yeah, no, ain't no whoa. Because I know the Lakers are heavy favorites, so
depending on who win it. Depending on who win it.
The Lakers win. There's an asterisk.
Ain't no asterisk. If we win, that's a legit championship.
I don't want to hear that. So if you're gonna put an asterisk on that championship,
okay, we'll take that point. We'll take that point aside. Okay, we'll take the strike season short. We'll take that.
However, but yeah,
they did not win a back-to-back.
Yeah, and then they went ghost for like a stretch, like just went away.
That whole Lakers run.
They didn't go
ghost. That whole Lakers run, they went ghost.
But you know what?
They just got dominated by the Lakers.
I didn't incorporate the years, the later years. I mentioned it 5 and 15 because that's still amazing. But at the same time,
they were still always at least
relevant
plays away from.
They were always there. Always there. The year the Oklahoma City Thunder went, they were there. They just OKC rose to the occasion that year, beat them. So that probably would have been the first time the Heat played the Spurs. They would end up playing them 3 times in the finals. And who knows what would have happened? But they won in '99, they won in 2002, and they won in 2005, and they won in 2007. That's consistent. It's not like consecutive, but that's 4 in 9 years.
You gotta have a back-to-back.
Gotta get a back-to-back, man.
Anyway,
I don't agree with that.
And I appreciate your support, good brother Steve. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it to Steve.
Well, before we pass it up to Steve, man, we're gonna take a quick little break. I know it's early on in the show, but I gotta get some more yak, and we're gonna set it up. And then later on in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a special guest, a good friend of ours and cousin of Denzel.
And frat brother as well.
Brother as well. He's gonna jump on and talk. Jump on and talk to us a little bit, but before we have him jump on, we're gonna hear the top 5 dynasties from Steve and as well as Iron. So sit back and go ahead and flip the glasses. We're gonna fill up ours and then continue to enjoy the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Loyal Sons Podcast after a quick break. Thank you for kicking it with us. So you've already heard top 5 NBA dynasties from myself as well as Denzel. So we're gonna kick it over to Steve and let him give his 2 cents.
You're right. So yeah,
be ready to be entertained, people.
I'm gonna go ahead and like I said earlier, agree with a couple of. I believe you both said them. Chicago Bulls from '91 to '98, ultimate franchise, 6 championships. Back to back. Twice. No losses in the finals. So, you can't discredit that at all. Ultimate, the GOAT franchise. The GOAT franchise. So, I'll keep them at 2. At number 1. At number 2, I just went ahead and made a quick little change just based off what we was talking about. I struggle between these 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and place my number 3 I had above my number 2, and my number 2 now I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Lakers from Kobe and Shaq Lakers. From 2004. They were the most dominant team during that run. They was just killing everything. There was really no team that was really, mess with them. And they got the three-peat. They went multiple times, so I got to give them their respect there. Can't say too much more, about them. I believe, had they probably would have worked out all the outside mess that was going on within the team, they probably could have won a few more. But unfortunately they didn't. So, but I still got to give them their respect as what I feel is, the number 2 franchise or top dynasty, excuse me. Number 3, I know y'all ain't gonna agree with this, but I'm gonna have to give number 3 spot to the Spurs from 99 to 2015, number 3. And the reason I'm giving them this is because of the longevity. They had to play
99 to 15. That's a long time.
I mean, they had the core. The core of that team was together. They won 5 rings during that time. So I'm just saying the years of what I'm considering. I mean, it was a long time. Granted, they did win 5 in that time frame. They did come against some formidable teams during that time frame, but they were also always relevant. You could never really say you count the Spurs out. Yeah, they might have lost, but they did get a couple, chips in during that Kobe Shaq era, LeBron era, when he was winning some rings.
What chip did they get during the Kobe Shaq era?
Yeah, 03.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to give them, you got to give them something. They played against some tough teams during that time frame. They went, the Pistons during that era.
Of course, the Pistons.
Nets,
Nets was definitely
they got one against LeBron.
The Knicks, we were on fire, man. We got all the way to the finals that year. You feel me? So
I mean, they played some pretty classic teams in history, and I felt like they deserve that, number 3 spot. My number 4 spot,
I respect it.
I went with the Showtime Lakers from 80 to 91. They just fit my criteria of winning 3, within that time frame. I didn't consider winning back-to-backs as being a dynasty. I felt that you just had to be relevant during a time frame and win 3 during that time frame. For me, that was my my criteria. And then like George said earlier, those were really the only 2 teams, the Celtics and the Lakers during that era, that was really kind of making a lot of noise. So I gave them number 4. And then my number 5, I went with the Celtics during that same era. Bird, he was killing it back then. They end up getting 3, I think, during that era.
I'm shocked, Steve. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm shocked.
I'm shocked you went with them too.
81, 84, and 86. I didn't really give anything to any current teams just because I didn't feel like they won 3 during that time. Maybe the Warriors, but I gave them honorable mention. The Heat. I didn't feel like they I don't feel like they were a dynasty, honestly. They had a good team. They were kind of relevant, but I don't feel like they were a legit dynasty during that time frame. So that's my list. And then I'll go ahead and let you go, Aaron.
All right. Contrary to what you may all believe, my list is quite normal. Number 1, I have the Bulls, 91 to 98. 6 times during that time frame. 2 3-peats.
Credit to the real GOAT. Finally,
I'm happy to hear that.
Right, I'm happy to hear that.
For once, everybody
agrees.
On the Loyal Sons podcast agrees on something.
For one time,
but I attribute that to GOAT Pippen. He held that team.
Oh, see, here we go.
I already got to throw a monkey wrench in there. The continuity, all the above.
Now we talking about GOAT Pippen.
Wow. But no.
Wow.
I go with the Bulls 91 to 98, man. You can't 2 3-peats. It's hard to argue with that.
Right.
My number 2, Lakers 2000 to 2004. They got a 3-peat in there. Like y'all said, man, probably the most dominant championship team there is. I mean, you got Shaq, out there bodying anybody you put on him, demanding a double team, triple team. Then you got Kobe Bean out there putting up 30. So, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Number 3, I got Showtime Lakers, surprisingly.
Surprise, yeah. I'm waiting for the next one. I'm waiting for it.
That's a surprise.
That one was tough for me, but from 80 to 91, they won 5 during that time, and you can't. It's hard to argue with Magic, Worthy, and Jabbar. I mean,
right?
It's tough. That's tough. So 3, I got the Showtime Lakers. Number 4, I got my boy Goat James, of course.
Oh,
I got the Miami Heat, 2011, 2014. They won 2 during that time. I feel like they should have got more, but I'm also take into account the 2 teams that they had to beat during that time. They beat an OKC team, which will have 3 Hall of Famers on it. And all 3 of them were playing dominant at that time. Harden had a bad finals, but that's on him. And then they beat the Spurs, who pretty much had the series wrapped up. And that was probably the most uncommon way to win a finals. That they won it, but they got it. And it was a back-to-back.
Yeah, we can't take that.
So I mean, I'm gonna go at the Heat at number 4. 5, surprisingly, because I hate this team. I hate them with a passion. I'm gonna go to Golden State Warriors. 2015 to 2019, they won 3. I mean, they won 1 without KD. So I give them credit for that one. And then the back-to-back with KD is just unbeatable. Like, I don't think any team in the league could stack up against him. And probably would have had a 3-peat had KD not gotten hurt. So
can I interject this real quick?
What's that?
We called the Lakers the most dominating team ever, the Shaq and Kobe combination. Can we say the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant is one of the most dominating teams ever as well?
In a different way, yes.
Yeah. No, they number 2. They weren't physically dominant, but talent-wise, they probably are the most dominant team to win championship. Yeah. I mean, if you look, but like I said, the reason why you got to put the Lakers at number 1, I mean, Big Shot Bob,
Yeah.
Rick Fox, say what you want about
Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher, right.
Derek Fisher. I mean, that team was stacked. Like the Lakers team was like.
Everybody held their own. Yeah. Even Tyler with the braids.
All they role players.
Tyloo did his job, man. His job was going in and play defense the best he could.
All their role players, man. All their role players did their job. They did their job to the highest ability too. Like they didn't really I don't want to do this role on that team, or whatever. They ain't try to outshine their role. They accepted their role and at the highest level.
Like for somebody like Big Shot Bob, like I think we should talk about him like one day, like in the episode, like
he the key to a lot.
Like he embraced his role. Like he never felt that he was bigger than what he was. He knew what he was there for every team. And dude just consistently won like 7 championships. Like, bro, that's real. And
because he embraced his role, he got the shots at the end of the game that he probably should not have gotten. He still got them.
Right. And he made them.
Yes.
So
because
it's one thing to get the shots, but it's one thing to make them.
Yeah.
And big times. We put him up there with that Ray Allen shot.
Yeah. That shot he hit against the Kings, man. The Kings was about to go up 3-1. That's a completely different series if he doesn't hit that shot.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and they beat a good Blazers teams back then too, man. Them boys, that Blazers team was really stacked, and I was like, man, I feel bad.
Go Pippen, Sheed,
Stoudemire.
Jermaine O'Neal, wasn't he still on there? Jermaine O'Neal was there.
I don't think he might have been there. I'm not sure.
I think he might have been in Indiana.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for that run, he might have been in Indiana. I think for that run, he might have been.
They beat Indiana. That was the year they beat Indiana. The Lakers beat Indiana.
Yeah. Jermaine O'Neal. He was on that team, that finals team.
Yeah.
Jalen by Kobe again.
But my honorable mention, man, I had one team, but then I went back and I put another one. I had the Celtics, 81 to 87, but I actually took them off, man. I put the Pistons. I feel like the Pistons run for that back-to-back they had was more dominant than those Celtics championships because the Pistons had to go through so much to get those 2 championships.
Juggernauts. And the fact that they went to 3 finals.
Yeah. And I don't think when Isaiah hurt the first finals, that's why they lost, right? He hurt his ankle.
Yeah, he hurt his ankle. And he
right.
So,
that was a tough era they had to go through to even get.
And I don't think he gets enough credit, man. I don't think Isaiah gets enough credit. And I can blame myself for that too. I don't really look at him. Most times, as one of the top players in the league, but the stuff that he did during that time frame, you got to look at him as one of the top players. I don't think he gets enough credit.
He don't get enough credit as one of the best point guards of all time either. One of the pure point guards.
Isaiah Thomas is like, it's hard for you to be like, okay, name me a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas. That's
outside of Magic Johnson. That's just those 2.
That's a tough conversation. That's okay, like you really gotta be like, and then like I think at some point you just start spouting out bullshit. Like Isaiah Thomas is one of the best point guards to ever play the game, other than Magic Johnson.
And then his career was cut short by injuries as well. So like who knows where, if he was able to play a little more in the 90s, we probably would be talking about him a lot more.
But his career was cut short because he was so dedicated to basketball. He shot his wrist out. That's what's crazy. He did it to himself.
Yeah.
And then
I love the game.
And then the style of ball he played. Like he played like they were the bad boy Pistons, and like they played a physical brand of ball, and they were beating people up. So eventually, like, what teams are doing, like, okay, well, we can't beat Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer up. We can definitely beat little Isaiah up. So I think he took a lot of punishment for what the punishment that his teams were dishing out. They started dishing it out on him. They're like, okay, well, you're gonna, close on our point guard. We're gonna close line your point guard. I think it's over time. It just wore on him. Like it beat him down a lot.
And then that other guy came in from Chicago after Isaiah got old. He came in and started beating.
I will have to, and I want to apologize. I'm gonna be the first person. So I did have the Celtics on my list at 5, and then I forgot that I meant to take them off because the Celtics did not complete the back-to-back. They were a dominant team.
Did not. It's true.
Did not complete the back-to-back. So I did have to make an edit to my list, and I forgot to announce that I did make an edit to my list. So my new number 5 team is the same as Iron. I went back and forth. It's either going to be them or the Miami Heat team.
You put the Heat.
Oh yes.
You put the Heat.
The Warriors already on my list, but
the Warriors already on there.
I'm gonna put the Bad Boy Pistons in that number 5 spot, replacing the Celtics. Going by my philosophy of you have to, for me to be a true, complete that. Nothing to take away from the team. I'm not taking anything away from the Spurs, Celtics, anybody. But I just feel like when it comes to championships and stuff like that, and the reason why the Celtics were originally on my list because at the start of every season they were a team that you knew was going to compete for a championship. And I have no beef with the Spurs. I just feel like the Spurs, you knew what you were going to get from them every year. They were going to be fundamental. Whether they made it, they made it. They didn't. But they didn't scare anybody. I don't think any team ever faced them in the finals and were worried to play them. When you talking about dynasties and stuff like that, teams were afraid to play Golden State. Teams were afraid to play the Lakers. Teams were.
I don't know, man. I think they might have been afraid of the Spurs because they just smacked you up.
Afraid of the Heat too.
Who was afraid of the Spurs?
I think when you had a young Tony, a young Manu, and still a young Timmy, I think they were people weren't really outright.
They weren't afraid to play the Spurs. It's just the system. Tim Duncan was a superstar. We're not going to discredit Tim Duncan. But the system made Manu and Parker so good that it didn't matter if they were playing a team that was more talented. You got Tim Duncan, and then you got 2 of the other best players in the league at that time, and the system that fits them, it's tough to beat them. Look what Danny Green did to the Heat in the finals.
Right. You couldn't make mistakes.
That man set a record for 3-pointers
against them. You can't make mistakes against the Spurs.
Nothing against Danny Green as a player, but Danny Green isn't nobody that just jumps off the radar that you say.
No, he's not.
He's playing for my team.
even before Danny Green. We're talking about the early Spurs. Like, when you played them, you knew what you was going to get. They were going to beat you down, regardless of how talented you believe your team was.
Now, when they had David Robinson and Tim Duncan now
that was dominant.
That
was
dominant. Dominant now. I got to give them that.
How many championships did they win with that lineup? Two.
One? Two, I think. Two.
They won two. David Robinson retired after the 2003 season, so they got two.
But when you look at it, okay, like I said, like we said, the 99 season strike shortened. The Lakers, Kobe and Shaq were trying to figure it out, and that's when they was like, okay, we're going to go get Phil. Once Phil got there.
They've been teammates at this point for 3 years. They still ain't figured that shit out?
Bro,
they had the coach. That make a difference, man. Look at Phil.
It does make a difference, though, with the coach.
It does make a difference,
It does.
Who's the better coach, Pop or Phil?
Phil.
I gotta go Pop.
I like Pop.
I'm gonna have to go. I gotta
go Pop. Phil hasn't won a championship without having the best player in the league on his team.
Or Kobe Bryant on his team. Yeah,
he's had the best. Or Shaq, right? He's had the best players in the league.
And how many championships have these greatest players won without Phil Jackson?
They didn't play without him. Well,
right. It's going hand in hand.
Shaq has won.
Shaq did get one.
It goes hand in hand, though.
Shaq,
that's kind of go hand in hand.
But Shaq played with somebody you can consider as a top 5 NBA coach of all time, and Pat Riley. So that's not
Pat Riley. Okay, my bad.
Pat Riley coached that team. Pat Riley coached that team.
I remember.
Coach Spo got 2 of them things. Put some respect on his name.
He also had LeBron James. So get the fuck out of here.
So let's not act like Shaq was down there winning championships with Ty Lue and shit like that. That's why you got to give
Go James did, but that's neither here nor there right now.
That's neither here nor there. So
I mean that that was a hell of a everything. That was
but you gotta look at it this way. Like, what would you think would happen if Greg Popovich had the arguably the best players in the league in his system?
Pop had Gary Neal. Who it don't even matter. I'm trying to think of just Avery Johnson.
Right?
Sean Elliott. What's the one that's there now? Patty Mills. It don't matter who you put on the floor for Greg Popovich. They're gonna become a star in that offense.
But here's my thing: Popovich's style is very authoritarian, disciplined. Yeah. Do you see Pop's style working with a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, a Shaquille O'Neal? If he has rings first, because then they'll respect it. But off top, rings. I don't know.
Yeah. They respect the rings, and he got the rings.
Phil's thing was Phil's nickname the Zen Master. Phil knew how to manage egos. Not everybody can manage the egos. I don't know. Tim Duncan, you got to think about everybody that you just named that Pop's coach, and everybody has no ego. Even Kawhi Leonard, no ego. They're just quiet people that play ball.
Kawhi ain't got no personality.
But we don't we don't really know that because only thing we know is the system. We don't know what goes on behind the closed doors.
Have you seen Tim Duncan how he dressed? That man has no ego. None.
I mean, the man came straight from the Islands. You know what I mean?
With the outfits Tim Duncan still puts on till today. Let you know that man don't care. No, he don't care about nothing.
He was a very humble dude, and he was happy to be there. Outside all that other nonsense. And
I think Steven Jackson is the most person. The player for the Spurs that had the most personality. He ain't last long. He got a ring, but he ain't last long.
He got that ship, and they got him up out of there.
Right. And then we all know what happened after that ship.
We talking about the brawl?
He's out here snuffing on
the fans.
The audience.
Hey man say he had to protect his teammates, man.
Right.
By any means.
That's another topic for another day.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk about that. We have to talk about where we were when that happened. We'll talk about that. That's something I'll never forget.
I got it noted.
Facts. But to keep the show rolling, we're gonna dive into a topic that been sweeping the nation. You might have or you've been living under a rock if you haven't seen it. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, who is actually the younger brother of a I consider her a friend.
I consider her a friend as well.
She went to South Carolina State with us. Brittany Gillespie.
She played basketball at SC State.
She played
hoops.
She played, yeah. I actually remember like him coming to games as like a younger dude. Like you didn't know who he was and stuff like that. But Bubba Wallace, NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, NASCAR's only
Gillespie.
NASCAR's only African American driver right now. Well, I hate saying that. I'll just read it, but a black driver. Had a noose tied up on the rope that was used to pull down his garage in Talladega, Alabama, which should come to no surprises from anybody. Like I said, you've been living under a rock. If you don't know, Bubba's been very outspoken in the Black Lives Matter movement of pushing that movement forward. He actually got the livery on his car wrapped in the Black Lives Matter movement, I believe, for his race in Charlotte a few weeks prior. But he's actually gotten NASCAR to remove the Confederate flag. If anybody knows anything in NASCAR, those two things go hand in hand. Confederate flag and NASCAR are one and the same. So the fact that NASCAR, and it's good to see like his, I don't want to say teammates, but his drivers around him support him. He's getting a lot of support from a lot of the top drivers, but you can get all the support from them as you want, but as you see, people are still going to be racist. People are still going to do a lot of things. So yeah, the brother went to go, I think was heading to practice, and other people got ropes in their garage, but you know, his at the bottom of his tied like a noose. But FBI claims it's not a hate crime, that wasn't a noose. I'm just like, I don't know what y'all. You look up noose in the dictionary, that's what it looks like. But
that's the picture.
Yeah, but yeah, let's I would love to hear. Like I said, like she's like his sister's a dear friend of mine. Brittany, Denzel. I know you and Brittany are also close, so we'll kick it off with you and your take on it and stuff like that.
Okay. So, you know, first and foremost, we must commend his bravery in this time, because it's kind of a double standard. Being the only African American in his sport, you could be the individual that says, let me keep quiet and let me try to fit in with what's going on here. Or I could be the one to actually be the trailblazer and set a trend here. So with that being said, I appreciate him speaking up for the Black Lives Movement. Like George said, his car actually is, you know, wrapped in the Black Lives Movement colors and the symbols and the logo as well. So that you know, I have to commend him for that. And definitely appreciate him promoting the change in his sport, not only in the sport, but in the country. Just promoting change in the world altogether. Like I said this on different different shows here, we have to keep the movement relevant, to keep making them uncomfortable about what's going on in the world. And what has made them uncomfortable? The Confederate flag being removed from all the races. A certain race driver who I don't even know his name, he's never won a race, and he's irrelevant anyway, but showing his true colors, walking away from the sport, saying he doesn't like the direction the sport is doing or whatever. And of course, the noose in the garage. The FBI can call it, saying that everybody has the nooses hanging in their garage, but you know, we all know, no, it means a lot more, being that this was in Bubba Wallace's garage. So with that being said, you know, he's really setting trailblazer here. And like I said, he could have easily taken the easy route, indicating that I'm just here and I'm happy to be a race car driver in this sport in this time. But no, he's really promoting change. And shout out to you know, the other drivers that are standing behind him with this, because it's showing that, you know, now that the white Americans gonna have to stand with us in this change. That's the only way change is gonna occur. We need everybody on the same accord. So, you know, I got nothing but love for the brother. You know, I hope he stays safe with everything going on, and you know, just keep making a difference in the world, bro. Feel me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've actually been kind of surprised at how fast NASCAR has come around to supporting him and everything. Well, just with their history of really being a kind of whites only sports league, if you will. You see the pictures of the stadiums, and you see the Confederate flags, and it's mostly a lot of white people out there. So it's not really like a sport that a lot of black people are really welcomed in. So it's kind of good to see them even supporting him during this whole thing. I just want to, let the people know that, this is not something that, you should consider like the same situation as the whole Jussie Smollett situation. A lot of people were saying that, oh, he faked this whole thing. And none of that actually happened. Someone brought the news to his attention. It's not like he discovered it. Someone actually, mentioned it to him. So I just want to let that be known. And they said that the garage that he was in, that the news had actually been there for quite some time. And nobody actually said anything and I don't know how he ended up in that garage, but it just goes to show you that NASCAR has, had this culture for a long time to where you can just have that thing there. I think they said maybe since August of last year or maybe even longer, that it's just been there and nobody noticed it or nobody said anything about it. That just goes to show how deep that culture was in white supremacy in NASCAR. But he didn't do anything wrong, so I don't want people to judge him for that just because of his camp came out and NASCAR came out and jumped ahead of the story before it got really big, as they should have. So he was at no fault in this. So I don't like that. I see people saying like, oh, he faked or he made this up, or I mean, why would he make up something like this to be humiliated, be put out there like that? Like, that's just so stupid for people to even say something like that. So I just want to put that out there, and I do like that the sport has, stood by him and backed him and everything. So, I stand with him, and, it's good to see that NASCAR is standing with him. And I just, hope he continues to have success in NASCAR, and then maybe it'll be a culture change and see more black people support NASCAR. But I think that NASCAR did a good job of jumping ahead of the story and just jumping out there, even though the FBI said no wrongdoing happened. But I think NASCAR did the right thing, and they got out there ahead of the story, and the drivers supported him and everything like that. So, I mean, that's how I feel about it. You can go ahead and have your spiel, Aaron.
I feel like you gotta look at a few different things, man. As far as them saying that the noose or the garage pull or whatever they want to call it, it being there for a long time. I look at, why was he assigned that garage then? Out of all the drivers in NASCAR, why was he assigned to that one? So that's something they can say that it's not a hate crime or anything like that. But I think it's all just a way to cover up because they realize how big of an issue that would have been for NASCAR. But it is a good thing to see the other drivers rally around him because in my mind, there's no wider sport than NASCAR. And this is something that I would have never thought would have happened. I figured when all this came out, he would have a few drivers support him, but to see damn near all of them support him the way that they have, it's a good thing to see. And it's a great thing for him to be a part of having the Confederate flag removed from NASCAR. I don't know why they're so attached to that flag. To them, I guess it means a symbol of Southern heritage, but they don't look at what's attached to that, the racism, the slavery, the fact that they lost the war.
Lost.
I don't understand why they're so attached to that flag, but I just appreciate NASCAR for banning that from all of their stadiums, and I just want people to realize that you can't say things like all lives matter and say that you have friends, you have family that are people of color and support the Confederate flag. Those two things can't go hand in hand because that is a symbol of something completely different for us. So essentially that's the Nazi flag to us. But Germany didn't fly the Nazi flag because they're ashamed of it. They don't want people to remember that. They don't want people to remember Holocaust, but for some reason, the South of the USA blatantly flies the Confederate flag still to this day. And to me now, especially in these times, if you're flying it now, there's no other way but you're racist, in my opinion. But that's besides the point right now. I just think that although this was a terrible thing for NASCAR, to see all the other drivers rally around him was a good move. And hopefully NASCAR can continue to progress, and hopefully we'll get some other drivers of color in the future.
Yeah. Big thing by NASCAR. Definitely happy that NASCAR has been, like I said, there's no wider sport than there, but I feel like they've been, I mean, I got to put them up there with the NBA as far as like how they've been, as far as their support for Bubba Wallace and like the progressive actions they've taken to help ensure that, you know, they promote a more inclusive environment. And just the other day, Brandon Thompson, a big titan of veteran of diversity and inclusion, a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, was appointed as the newly created position of vice president for diversity and inclusion for NASCAR. So they're supporting Bubba, but they're creating positions for people of color to be in positions of power in their sport to help them cultivate and make change. I mean, like I said, I've lived in Charlotte. I've always wanted to go to races. Steve, I don't know how you felt, but like it's one of the things where it's like you knew the flag was out there, you knew those type of people were out there. So it's like, is that someplace that you felt safe going? So it was like, nah, exactly. I don't want to go. But it felt like something. Like I like going to sporting events. I work in sports. I like sports, and that was just the one sporting. Like I was just like, I don't think it's safe.
Exactly. Quick point. Yeah, I mean, quick point there. I mean, I didn't cut you off, but like you said, I mean, it's something I've thought about, and I drive by that stadium a couple of times. I'm like, well, you know, it will be something cool, but you know, just the culture and everything behind it. Like I just don't want to go out there and be, you know, stared at and, you know, possibly called just to watch a event, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, do I go out there and watch a race and fight, or do I just go on about my day? Yeah, I think I'm going about my day.
I'm not paying no money to be called a nigga. You feel me? Like
exactly. Or looked at funny for being there, like we out of place.
Exactly.
So yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna jump into another intermission. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have our good friend and fraternity brother Javar come join us, and we're gonna talk about Cam Newton finally signing with the team. Cam Newton is a New England Patriot. And if you know me, I'm currently in Charleston, South Carolina. Big up to the South down here, hanging out with the fam for a couple of days. But I live up in Rhode Island, so I'm stuck around a bunch of New England fans all damn day long. But
no, it makes a lot of sense why I see all these Redskin hats piled up. Shout out to Mr. Brisbane.
Shout out to the OG. The OG.
Shout out.
Going to visiting their house and going to cookout. I've never seen so much Redskin stuff in my life, but you know, it's all love. It's all love. Tell your pops that stuff was good.
Yeah, I'll tell him everybody said what's up.
And your mom as well.
Oh yeah.
But yes, ladies, we're gonna kick back into it. Talk about Cam. I'm hyped. I mean, I think everybody on here is a big Cam Newton fan, so we're happy to see him finally signed to a team. So yeah, we're gonna jump out and we're gonna be right back.
Black.
And we're gonna talk about this real quick. All right, be right back. All right, let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Loyal Sons podcast. We are in the building and we are ready to talk a little Cam Newton. But before, we get into that, we got a special guest. Denzel, introduce the people to our special guest.
All right. What's up, everybody? First and foremost, I'm very happy to announce, this is my cousin, a frat brother, all the above. He's getting ready to start his own podcast real soon. Matter of fact, tomorrow he starts his own podcast, so you guys be on the lookout for that. It's called Straight to the Point. It's my cousin, again, my frat brother, the one and only T. Austin. Say what's up to the people.
So Javar,
welcome to the Loyal Sons podcast, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the invite, fellas.
No problem at all, man.
Glad to have you on with us.
Glad to have you on, Javar. So we're gonna kick this on. Before this last intermission, we talked a little bit about Bubba Wallace, everything that's going on with him. Just give your opinion. NASCAR's making some changes. We talked about they recently hired a young, fellow fraternity brother of ours as the VP for diversity and inclusion to try to, help diversify the sport, to get more than just Bubba Wallace as the only black driver, and hopefully to get more black fans at races. But with everything going on with him, just give your take on it.
I don't know where to start with that. I appreciate NASCAR stepping up to the plate, even jumping ahead of the situation beforehand. That's a huge thing that a professionally owned white Fortune 5 billion company can get behind a black athlete at, on that aspect of something like that big. They're stepping ahead of the game before media got to it and handling it as the way they did and making it as public as they did. Now, did they do it a thorough job beforehand and figure out A, B, and C what was going on with the news, which I think it was a news. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That hanging down in that particular, it's a bunch of ways to tie a knot now. Come on now. So for it to be tied in that particular way and hung up right in front of the garage door, it just speaks volumes for itself. The picture, if y'all seen the picture, it speaks volumes for itself. But I definitely appreciate NASCAR stepping up to the plate and really getting behind their only black athlete and supporting him to the fullest. Even though they caught some backlash from it, well, I don't think they should get handled a penalty call for something like that. But I definitely think it was dope on their part of even stepping up to the plate and even being behind Bubba Wallace and other they are athletes, and some people look at them as athletes, but other athletes, other NASCAR drivers get behind them, Bubba Wallace, and bringing his car across the finish line was a very dope scene too. I think a lot of people unappreciate that moment in sports. That was huge. That was huge.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah. I just want to say something real quick. Yeah. I think we really don't really appreciate that whole moment that NASCAR had kind of shared with him. I think, maybe some years down the line we'll probably, it'll hit us a little bit more, but just seeing that scene of all those drivers, getting behind him and he being ahead of them, it just really shows that they are trying to make progress and looking for change. But that was a really big moment. So I think, years from now, you look back at that picture and be like, wow, I can't believe something like this actually happened. And something like NASCAR, with the history that they have, that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. It was a definitely good moment to see.
All right.
Yeah, I think that moment was definitely dope, man. Maybe hopefully it'll spark some change and get some more drivers of color into NASCAR and just build the sport up.
Yeah, I mean, I think just a lot of people actually like the idea of something like NASCAR and a lot of people like racing. A lot of black people like racing. You'll see a lot of black people like to go out to tracks and stuff like that. But they just never really get into NASCAR. I think just because we was never really accepted into it, and that's not really something that we was welcome into with open arms.
Right.
But hopefully something like this will spark that change, and a lot of driving that you see on illegal street racing, they can kind of put that energy towards making it a professional career. So hopefully that'll spark some type of change.
Right, I agree. Definitely, I feel like that's not a sport that people come towards with parents raising, hey, let's try to get you a NASCAR, let's get you a go-kart, and let's see what you do. Adding this, everybody more lean towards basketball and football because that's unquote the black sports. You know what I'm saying? So, I just definitely think like I was saying, I definitely would look forward to see this opening doors and even open up kids' eyes. Like, okay, NASCAR is cool, driving the car is cool. It can be fun. It can be, a career path.
Exactly.
It's all about inclusivity, man. There's so much to go with NASCAR. I think we all commended them and doing what they do. It's not just about driving, engineering, like designing the cars, designing the engine, just open it up. There's black engineers out there that, can now maybe hopefully think about, maybe I can go build engines. for, some of these NASCAR teams and not just drive. There's so many doors that hopefully this will open. So, hats off to NASCAR for, doing what they need to do and making the right step. Before we kick into our next topic, I want to let everybody know we apologize for having some technical difficulties. You can't see Javar. We're having some stuff, but you can hear him. I just wanted to put that out there. We're in this COVID time, everybody's, we're doing everything. Technology, we're at the mercy of our computers. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It is what it is, but we're still glad to have Javar with us. Next topic. My man, Cam Newton, is a New England Patriot replacing the great Tom Brady. I'm going to kick into it real quick so we can let everybody else do it. I'll try to be brief. I'm hyped. I love the fact that the Pats signed Cam. I called it a couple of weeks ago. I posted on my social media page. Iron fella, they reached out to me like, yeah, you did call it. Like, I felt like the Pats is where he was going to end up. I think Bill Belichick is going to do a great job. Cam's hungry. He's ready to prove everybody wrong. He's the perfect person to follow up a Tom Brady type person because Cam has his own ego. Cam has his own swag. He's not going to go to New England scared to replace Tom Brady at all. I think he's somebody that puts the Patriots back in that playoff Super Bowl conversation. I'm not going to say they're going to go out and win it, but he definitely gives them a fighting chance. Their offensive coordinator when he was with Denver, took Tim Tebow to the playoffs. So you trying to tell me this man can't take Cam Newton and make something happen? I mean, I think the Patriots are going to do something great. The fact that I live up in Rhode Island, in New England area, means that I'm finally going to go to some games now. I'm going to go out there and support my man Cam. I was a little hyped.
What about the Redskins, George?
I go to Redskins games, and y'all know this. Everybody in here knows this. I go to Redskins games faithfully. That's something that I do. I'm definitely.
He does go watch the Redskins get beat by the Cowboys. I give him credit for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right. Big fact.
But yeah, I'm gonna kick it off to our guest. Let him jump into it first. But Javar, give us your take on Cam. Getting this opportunity.
For the coaches, definitely, man. It's nice to see Cam get another opportunity. Definitely, it's going to be an interesting season for the Patriots, to say the least. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, he's going to have fun with Cam. He's definitely going to have fun with Cam with that offense. Cam has a prolific arm when he's healthy. I think the Patriots need a little bit more weapons now, because you can't depend on Cam and with them legs all the time. That's why he's in the predicament that he was in, previous seasons and stuff. They're relying on him too much on the offense. But definitely, I think it's gonna be something to watch. I'm definitely not a Patriots fan by any chance, but I'm a Cowboys fan. But you already know, Cowboys all day. The nation, them boys. But man, it's as a sports fan, man, like it's gonna be interesting to see because, like I said, Josh McDaniels is a genius. I mean, a genius in the offense standpoint, and I know he's gonna just be picking defense apart with Cam and that arm he got. But like I said, they need some weapons on that offense. I know Bill is the mad genius when it comes down to scheme sets and stuff like that. But definitely, man, I'm glad to see Cam get another opportunity, and I look forward to watching him play this season. Hopefully a healthy season. That's the key thing. They got to keep Cam healthy. Other than that, man, looking forward to a good big sign about the Patriots. I just feel that only thing I have a little disagreement with that. They waited till now to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The only thing I disagree was this a black thing, or this was a sign of what's best for my team right now. That's my only disagreement with that.
This was a money thing. The Patriots don't believe in spending money, and they know the value. I think they know the value of a Cam Newton, and they were waiting to see what everybody else was going to do. If somebody's going to offer him that money, look at the deal they signed him to. They were just like, it's highly based off of incentives. It's league minimum. It is what it is. I mean, I'm glad he got the offer, but. I mean, great questions that you bringing up. Is it something like that? But when it comes to the Patriots, their history of not paying players other than people named Tom Brady, I gotta just go with the fact that.
And even he took a pay cut.
He took pay cuts. I mean, come on. Their owner hangs out with Gucci Mane on his free time. Anybody that hang out with Gucci Mane in their free time, Meek Mill, I can't question their loyalty to Black America.
So, Steve, what?
Robert Kraft love strippers.
Big
love strippers.
Robert Kraft loves
he do love them strippers.
Shouts out to Robert Kraft.
Oh yeah,
he's a real one.
So Denzel, what's your take, bro?
My take, definitely. I've been a Cam fan. I can't take that. I'm not going to sit here and acknowledge that I've been a Panthers fan. I'm sorry. That's you'll never hear me say that. But definitely big for the culture, because like Issa Rae said, I'm rooting for everybody black. So if we have black quarterbacks out here that actually are more talented than their white counterparts, I want to see them get the opportunity. So definitely him getting this opportunity in Boston, of all places, which is historically racist. I'm curious to see how the fans are going to accept him. But at the same time, as long as he's healthy, as long as that line protects him, and if they could go out there and get some pieces to assist, it's going to be an interesting year in New England. And by no means am I going to be a Patriots fan, but at the same time, I want to see him succeed. He's a former MVP. He's taken the team to the Super Bowl. I would love to see him get another opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and actually, earn a ring. He's at that point in his career, and with how he was treated by the Carolina Panthers and how he was disrespected by the rest of the league, I feel he has that chip on his shoulder to go out there and just show out. So, and we all seen Cam, how Cam is when he shows out. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm kind of agreeing with both of y'all. It'll definitely be interesting to see what's going to happen. Just based off the history that Tom Brady left. Like George said earlier, I don't think the spotlight will be too big for Cam. I think it'll just be a thing of the fans there. Like, will they give him a chance to actually, get up to speed, or are they just going to expect him to be like an MVP form as soon as he step out there? It's been a while since we actually seen Cam healthy and performing at a high level. So I'm curious to see as the fans there. They used to Tom Brady playing at a high level all the time. So are they going to rock with Cam when he having a rough game or a rough patch during the season, or just going to turn on him? So that's one thing I'm really curious to see. Just because he's not Tom Brady, he's not going to ever be Tom Brady, so he has to kind of has to live up to some big shoes, but he has the ability to and the ego to go in there and do a job at a high level. So I'm curious to see that aspect of it, but I'm also excited just for him to get the opportunity. It's been way too long for him to even sit out this long. It's been really disrespectful. I'm like, people question like, can he still play? I don't even think that was a question. I just think people didn't like, his ego and his persona, because Cam don't really have no issues off the field. So, what was the issues about? Just him celebrating on the field or being a little, over the top with celebrations? I don't understand that. But outside of that, I'm happy that he got an opportunity, and I'm just curious to see what he's going to do with it. I'm not a Patriots fan either, but I'll be rooting for him, to succeed and do well. But that's I just hope he does well and get out there and the fans actually give him a chance.
I think I look at this a little differently than everybody else. I'm looking at this because of my strong hatred for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm extremely, extremely excited for my man Cam. I feel like what did he say? I mentioned that. That's what he said. That was his quote at the end of his video. It's his goodbye farewell video to Carolina. And I think a motivated Cam Newton is something that's dangerous for the league. Happy he's in the AFC. So my team won't have to face him, hopefully at all. But you look at what Cam will be able to do. New England has probably the top defense in the NFL. If not the top defense, it's definitely top 5. And we've seen what he can do if you give him a top defense. He took the Panthers to the Super Bowl when they had a top defense with pretty much him as the only offensive weapon that they had besides Greg Olsen. So you give him a top defense. You give him probably the best coach in the league with Belichick, one of the top offensive coordinators in the league with Josh McDaniels. And he has a few offensive weapons there. I mean, he got Sonny Michel. He has Edelman. I think they do need a deep threat at receiver. And they definitely need somebody to step up at tight end. But he has a few things to work with there in New England. I'm just excited to see what he does. I do think New England waited to the last possible moment so they can offer him the least amount of money. What's he getting, like 7.5?
7.5.
I saw a meme today. Chase Daniels
is up to 7.5, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It starts at 2, and then like it go up to 7.5.
Yeah, so if he fulfills all the incentives in his contract, then he'll get 7.5. There's players out there like I saw Chase Daniels makes more than Cam and Jameis combined. And those are two players who have broken records in the league. Cam going to a Super Bowl, and being an MVP.
Right?
Yeah. Aside from his contract, I think this is a great move. I think he's gonna do some great things in New England. And Panthers fans, I hope you all watch the great thing that he does in New England as Teddy Bridgewater checks the ball down each play. So that's my take. That's my take on it.
Great take, guy. Great take, everybody.
Big stuff, man. I think everybody on this podcast today is happy for our guy Cam Newton. I think it's just great to see, like I said, like black quarterbacks continue to get the opportunity to show that they belong in this league and they can play that position. Cam's already shown it. He had a few hiccups. Like before, like you remember before he got hurt. Well, not this past season before. Cam was putting up better numbers than the MVP season. He just landed on the
They were like what? They were like what? Were they 6-0 or something? Something close to that.
6-1. They were like 6-1 or 6-2.
Something close to that crazy. Before he got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he was doing damage. So it's like if Cam can get back to that, like
MVP Cam.
I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm not a Patriots fan either. I mean, and I've had to sit in New England and live in New England and watch these cats celebrate parade after parade. That shit gets annoying.
He don't even got to be MVP for him. Just fully healthy.
Yeah,
fully healthy Cam with the Patriots can do damage. And
if they can put up 21 a game with the defense they have, it's gonna be tough. They gonna win the division if they can do that.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be tough to put them out the playoffs if he can do that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they missing a big threat down the field, man.
He
gonna need that. Like I said, Cam got a deep arm. He got a very nice deep arm. But they need that big threat, man, down the field that gonna open up that defense a little bit. So open up the offense a little bit. Definitely, they need a big threat down the field.
I agree.
I'm gonna make a second call when it comes to that. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, on the Loyal Sons podcast. Once Baker Mayfield shits the bed at the first half of the season, and Odell Beckham is tired of being in Cleveland, the Patriots will trade, a bunch of 3rd and 4th round draft picks to the Cleveland Browns and get Odell Beckham to come to New York.
Think that's gonna happen?
A Brisbane bomb.
That'll be a hell of a move for my boy Odell.
That'll be That'll be the second time a team has made a mistake of trading Odell. I'm not gonna mention the first team that did that, but that'll be the second time somebody's done that.
But I think Odell's gonna get tired of being in Cleveland. I just don't think it's gonna work there, and I think he's gonna want to get out. And Bill's gonna be sitting right there.
Yeah. Let me trade you these 3 tight ends that are on IR.
Right.
and get Odell.
And you know what? I'm not a hater. He's no longer a Giant, but I would definitely the best wide receiver we've ever had in our history. I would love to see him get a ring. So if that happens, I'm not disappointed in it at all.
You could have. Go ahead.
I think Cleveland gonna get it together this season. I think they're gonna get it together. I
can see that too. I
think they're going to get – our offense is going to be clicking, Jarvis Landry on the other side from Odell. Baker going – I think he's going to get it together. They got a different coach this season. I forgot the guy's name, but because I think the last guy was Freddie Kitchens. Yeah,
Kitchens was terrible.
Yeah, so I think they're going to definitely – the offense is going to be booming this season, man. I think they're gonna finally get that groove going on, and they're going to get it together.
Heard you.
But if they don't,
He be out the door
hold down to the Patriots. You heard it first. You heard it first from George. George called Cam Newton going to the Patriots. Who knows? He might be the guru of this.
Right. If I get this right, NFL GMs, I'm available. I'm available.
They might wait till the last minute and offer that low price though.
Oh yeah.
Oh no! They got to pay me. I'm going to let you know that right now. I ain't coming. But as we always do, we like to end each episode with a quote, and we're going to allow our guests to give us a quote for the people. What do you have for us today?
I got a quote that I recently heard that, you know what I'm saying, it was something real short and just and it just spoke volumes. If you want, basically it was like, hey, if you want to wake up, if you want to dream, if you want to stop dreaming, then you got to wake up. So basically, you know what I'm saying, if you want things to make happen in your life, man, you got to wake up, you got to make things happen. You got to, you know, put the effort forth, you know, just me, but all y'all want to do something part of this podcast. You wanted to make it happen, you got to put forth the effort to make things happen. You can't just sit here and be like, okay, yeah, I want to do a podcast, but, you know what I'm saying, we got to put the people together, and y'all boys doing a, you know, marvelous job at it. So far, so good. Definitely, I've been checking episodes out. So, again,
appreciate
like
myself.
Appreciate no problem, man, no problem. And, you know what I'm saying, so even me starting my podcast by myself, so it's going to be real interesting to say the least. Y'all got each other to talk to. but man, but yeah, man, you know, if you want to, you know, want dreams to come true, man, got to wake up.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you joining us here today. Before we leave, again, let the people know, you know, what's going on with your podcast, how they can find it, and you know, all that information.
Well, straight to the point. Definitely, you can follow me. You can follow my personal Instagram, straight STR8_2. That's the number THEPOINT. In my podcast Instagram page is same thing, but instead of the underscore, it's a dot. You can follow me on social media, guys. Hit me up on Facebook, Javar Reddy. That's my real name, but you know what I'm saying, I'm going by TR as far as my podcast. But definitely, man, hit me up. Definitely, it's going to be an interesting podcast. I'm going to be talking about as far as sports, fashion, everything that's going on in the world today. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to really too much touch on politics like that, man. I just want my show to be fun, different, and, you know what I'm saying, something that's going to lift the people up, man. And it's going to be definitely fun. You got your boy, got Cuzzo coming on tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Kiss and Fab battle. Which I thought was very interesting in itself, but definitely, man, it's gonna be different, man. Definitely, I would definitely love to have y'all boys on too.
No problem.
Anytime, man.
Let us know.
Anytime.
Let us know.
Definitely, man. But yeah, man, follow me, people, straight to the point. T. Austin, man. Again, I appreciate y'all boys showing love and letting me be on y'all show.
Hey, you already know that's what we do here, Loyal Sons Podcast, and at the same time, Javar, he went to SC State as well, you know, so like we all went to South Carolina State as well. We all pledged Kappa Alpha Psi, you know, not saying that we only look out for our frat brothers. We try to look out for everybody, you know, so this, he's our first guest, hopefully first of many more. You know, we like he said, we actually sat down and spoke about doing the podcast, and we made it a reality. Javar, he had this dream for a while, he had this vision, and it starts off tomorrow. So I cannot wait to be a part of the first episode. And just anybody out there, when you listening, if you feel like you want to bring something to the table, you know, we're open to give people the opportunity to speak out. You know, it's no hate here. It's love over everything, you know, especially whatever. Like, we have to look out for each other. We have to give each other these opportunities to express ourselves, especially in this crazy time of what's going on in the world. So, you know, for all our followers out there, everybody that tunes in, watches our YouTube videos, listens to us on the podcast, if you feel like you want to bring something to the table, just let us know. Reach out.
Yes. Like I said, like, just to concur in what those guys said, like, just let us know. We appreciate the support that we've been getting. You know, we want to keep growing, you know, share it with the, you know, friends and family, keep growing with us. We're thankful for Javar coming on, being our first guest, looking forward to many more guests, and we're just trying to keep this thing growing. we're trying to, do something big. I'm gonna take a page out of one of my idols when it comes to doing this podcast, Uncle Shannon. I'm gonna take a play out of his playbook. I'm trying to get famous. I want to meet Joy. I need to meet Joy Taylor. I'm trying to make her my wife, y'all. So I need to get famous so I can be on the same level as her. So Joy Taylor,
help you out, bro.
Joy Taylor, if you're listening, please follow the podcast, and I'd love to take you out to lunch the next time I'm in Los Angeles if you are available. Why y'all laughing? I'm dead ass serious. I don't know.
I know you're serious. I know you're serious.
My boys, Steve and Iron already got their queens. You know what I mean? George is shooting a shot for his.
He's shooting a shot, the major shot.
For mine. But hey, Uncle Shannon did it with Nicole Murphy.
Nicole Murphy, he shot that shot.
Got the picture with it too.
Yeah, right.
Uncle Shannon, I'm taking a page out of your playbook, brother. You know how we do for the South. You know how we do. I'm no shame in my game, George.
That's what's up.
Man, we definitely appreciate the support. Like I always say, criticize the hell out of them. Those four now. Those four. Don't say nothing about me.
And if you say something about Iron, he's gonna cook you. He's gonna roast you. He's gonna do all the above.
It may happen, but we definitely appreciate this.
Don't think you can come for me neither, because you know how I get. You don't want the Bronx to come out of me. Don't do it.
We appreciate the support, man. We definitely do.
I'm gonna drop another bomb on y'all, like I dropped a bomb on Denzel steroid gate. Denzel's not from the Bronx. Denzel's actually from Staten Island. So
I knew it.
Boy, I only been to Staten Island one time in my life.
He was surprised. I said, damn.
He's like, I am?
For the record, I only been to Staten Island one time in my life. That ferry ride was too much for me, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. I went to Staten Island in the daytime on the ferry, got back on the ferry, and got home like midnight. Never again.
Are you explaining yourself right now?
Basically.
Yeah.
My people didn't know about that ferry ride. It's not fun.
Last two episodes, we've discovered that Denzel does take steroids, and Denzel is not from the Bronx. Denzel's from Staten Island.
Like I say all the time, I'm not even going to dispute it. My people know what it is. You already know.
All right, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate the love. Continue to grow with us.
Like, share, subscribe.
One love.
Love y'all, man. Be easy.
All right, y'all be easy.
Y'all be easy, man. See y'all next week, y'all.
Yeah.
Later.